All right, now let me ask you. That's fair. I love your vision. I think it's a fantastic vision. But now you're no longer God. Now we have certain reality. We've got Federal Reserve that controls the economic paradigm that prevents your vision from happening. We've got the Department of Education that controls what the youth think about all of the issues. So how do we get from where we are to where you want us to be? What could we do to bridge those two worlds?
Education, but not education, but teaching of passing down the knowledge from the generation that knows to the generation that needs to know. Deprogramming of those youths that are programmed in the MK Ultra schools, where they're not taught to think, feel. Does Johnny feel okay with himself? Does Johnny have enough self-esteem that he wants to learn today in the classroom environment? Oh, Johnny doesn't feel good, so let's put him on Ritalin. Let's put him on some kind of psychotropic pharmaceutical drug. But again, only certain people make money off of it.
But also the parents are the ones who keep leaving the children in the schools, despite all of the stories that come out. So it's, how do we get the children out of the environment when the parents seem unwilling to participate?
Well, my friends and my friends that are parents, my friends have home births. My friends homeschool. My friends, cook up apples and peaches, or not peaches, but pears, and mash them down so that their children are eating non-garbage, So it's basically, it's a whole mindset that has to change. No vaccinations. Don't put your children at risk right off the bat. Don't fill them up with the viruses that later become the cancers that kill us off early, because we're useless eaters in the eyes of the elite, especially after the age of 30. They make movies to tell us how much they despise us and how quickly they want us to die. Like movies like Logan's Run. Your little green marker turns to red, and you have to go electrocute yourself so you can make room for the next generation. So it goes back to the family, and that's why they're trying to destroy the family.
Right, but the question still remains. And I think it's been a question that we've been wrestling with for decades, which is how do we get it through to the current generation so that they will participate in getting the younger generation out of the clutches of the controlled education?
Unfortunately, the usurious system that is now upon us has to collapse, and it is collapsing. Once the debt bubble of the derivatives falls upon us, look out to all of us, brother. And I hope that there's enough of us that know to step away from the wave when it happens, and we'll come back 2 weeks, a month later, and deal with the destruction in the aftermath and start to rebuild the American society, or hopefully a global society where we care about humanity again, and not just the greed, and not the love of the greed or the cult of greed. And sometimes, there has to be some pain to motivate.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? From the chat room, Love Lee says, "I love that song," referring to "I'd Rather Die Than Be a Slave." Please tell Paul that I wrote that. So it is my theme song, she says.
Thank you. God bless you.
All right, let's talk Poker Face. First, do you have anything to which you would attribute the growing popularity of Poker Face? Again, it's been 20 years. Obviously, you didn't have the following you have today back then.
We look at our music as a freedom virus, and look, it might not be for everybody. Like, my mom doesn't like to listen to maybe one song out of the 60 that we have out as this, but for those that do like it, they spread it, and they spread it a lot of the reason for the message that's contained within it, and it's a good way to reach the youth, and that's why we're doing it. And we're here to get into the minds, the brains of those that are unfortunately going to be doing the fighting for their own freedom, because we're at that end of the road. They've indebted us to the point that they don't want to lend us any more money. And if they want to have a future, they're going to have to take it back. And the elite feel that they've stolen it fairly, and they're not going to give it back willingly. So, unfortunately, like Mal said, the power comes from the barrel of the gun, and we're going to have to take it back that way.
Are you hopeful that enough people will see it that way and will indeed take action to reclaim it? I go back and forth on this. Some days I'm very hopeful. Other days I'm very, very despondent.
Well, I'm sure at the time of our forefathers, there's, less than 1% that actually took active participation against the crown, and I think we have a lot more than, maybe 2 to 3% of the American population that is truly awake. Whether they've been hurt by illegal immigration that lowers their wage so that they can't afford their cars or their mortgages on their houses. So, Poker Face has two sayings. Until the beer stops flowing and the sports stops showing, there'll be revolution in the street. And the second is, when enough of the middle class of America no longer has jobs to go to afford their homes that they no longer can live in, there'll be revolution in the street. And once you take away everything from a man and a woman, they have nothing left to lose. Then they'll resort to what they have left.
Yes, but in all honesty, I'd rather we have an American-style revolution than a French-style revolution. In France,
Truly.
That's what happened in France, and sure, there was a revolution, but it was totally chaotic and totally random. In America, it was thoughtful and strategized.
The Jacobin Revolution was a Jewish revolution, and that was basically to punish France for helping America get free from Britain. I mean, they've punished King Louis XVI and his wife, Antoinette, to, these spectacles of truly who they were. It wasn't until recently that I realized that it was Louis XVI that helped the young fledgling colonies, because they don't put those two things together in school to teach us that he was the one that helped us. So what was the payback for that? Death. Lincoln tries to use Rothschild-backed money. Death. Kennedy starts to print up, treasury notes. Death. When you mess with the man's money, they try to kill you or put you in jail like James Tropicon.
Well, this is also why I think this globalization of society is bad for people for many reasons, but one of them is that, family units, clans, if you will, don't stay together anymore. They go to the opposite side of the world, the opposite side of the country, whatever else, because they can talk, they can go on video and look at each other, and so what's the big deal? And I really think that in this respect, technology has harmed us.
Oh, I got to tell you something, brother. I'm Mexican on my father's side. I'm not a Mexican-American, I'm American. Okay? I'm not But on my Mexican side of the family, they make it a point, at least one meal of the day. Doesn't matter whether they're out of the city of Guadalajara, they all come home. It doesn't matter how busy they are during the week, they'll all get together on a Sunday afternoon. So, for me to continue battling the New World Order, I go to Mexico for 3 weeks to get recharged because all I get is love down there. And all I want to do is be a good example to my American side of the family, like, it can be done. But you have to, like you said, the family has to come home. The family has to be there to help support each other. Not just in words, but in action.
Absolutely. I wish we had more time. We don't. I want to talk about the concert on Guy Fawkes Day. You're playing this Friday. Where and when?
We're home for the next two gigs. Lupo's is the club. It's in Allentown, Pennsylvania, LUPOS. We have 3 acts, 2 of them being protest bands like us. One of them we are grooming. One's called Hey Tech. The other one is Kinetic Blue. And we have an opening act by the name of Antonio Andrade, who worked with the Eagles.
Very nice. And that's this Friday, correct? When does it all start?
Starts at 9 p.m. If you look up LUPOS in Allentown, you'll find the address and telephone number, and only $5 cover charge. $5 for 4 bands. Can't beat it.
Cool.
And there'll be a lot of freedom in there.
Cool. And the website, folks, is www.pokerface.com as well. What about the rest of the year? How do people find about your scheduled appearances? Is the website?
Pokerface.com. Send us an email to pokerface@pokerface.com. Because of the famers of the All Defecation League, of the Bernard Bread, they have a tendency to try to destroy our gigs. So besides making us more famous and more popular around the world, every now and again, if we give them too much information too soon, then they go about trying to destroy the gig. So if you want to know, you have to be on the email list. So the only way to get on the email list is to send us an email saying I went on.
Excellent. That's great. I like that. How about any new releases on the horizon?
Oh, let's see. Decent work came out this past January, but we've already written Tyranny Befalls America, and because I went through divorce this last year, There's a whole new disc that's going to be acoustic, the softer side of Face. There'll be 12 love tracks from A Lot of Pain to New Love.
And when's that due?
We're hopefully going to reach it this winter, so it could happen anytime, I'd say probably for Christmas of next year.
Fantastic. Excellent. Paul, I want to thank you. I really appreciate it. I had no idea, that, in listening to you, I would so much be touched in my own passion. And I really appreciate your coming on and spending this time with us.
Brett, thank you for providing the opportunity always, brother. And anytime like a guest cancels out, consider, calling us. We love to talk. I'll
remember that, absolutely. Paul Topete of Poker Face, www.pokerface.com. Check him out, folks. If you have not been exposed to Poker Face, you really, really have missed something, and I strongly advise you to check it out. Paul, thanks a lot. Please give my best to the entire group, and take good care.
Thank you. God bless.